everybody. I'm Ross Merriam.
I'm Brad Nelson.
And we're here for another episode of Versus Live.
We're here, and it's live. This isn't pre-recorded.
Yeah, we're doing it right now as you're hearing us.
This minute.
That's what live means.
Well, with a small delay. Anyway, I'm allowed back in here because I didn't get 3-0'd last week.
Well, no, we haven't gone back to the video yet. I said we would, and then I didn't.
Real quick here on Versus Live, we actually now have the technology to watch instant replays. So we're going to take a look at that right now.
Brad, we don't.
Nope. See,
Brad,
I didn't.
we don't.
Oh, I didn't mean for them, just for me. I get to watch the instant replay. We get to watch it.
Yes, that's definitely what is happening here.
And I didn't get 3-0 swept, so I get to come back.
Okay, well, I'm also here, so I'm not sure how that worked. But we do have Todd Anderson in the booth.
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
And today, actually last week, Thursday, we did the Gol Gauntlet, which meant the Golgari Gauntlet, where I played 3 different Golgari decks against 3 different decks in the format. Things didn't go that well for Golgari that day, but it did this weekend, where
it did.
Golgari crushed the Magic Online PTQ. 6 of the top 8 were Golgari, with just a smattering in the top 32 as well.
Yes.
And
something like 11 overall across all 32, 6 in the top 8, a bunch of like different variation at lists too. So
we don't know what the right list is, but one person out there does. Yesterday, Steve Mann was just going off on social media about how he has the perfect list of Golgari. I'm probably being a little hyperbolic.
He is in the trophy lead.
He is in the trophy lead on Magic Online,
standard key,
and he says his list is the best. And if you want to beat everything, play his list. So I thought, you know what? We do Versus Live. Golgari is the deck to look at right now. And sure, we would want to explore the other strategies in the format, but we don't even know what this deck looks like. It's not like Teamer Energy or Red Black Aggro, where we already know the list. We're pretty much hammered down everything. We don't even know what 2 drops to play, if we should play 1 mana removal, what 2 mana removal to play, what 3 drops to play. It's all over the place.
Yeah, there's a lot of variation in lists. So we're going to try out Steve Mann's deck in Gol Gauntlet 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm not going to call it that, but I will accept you saying it.
Okay. I'm going to be playing 3 decks to try to take down Steve Mann's Golgari list. The first of which is the 3rd place list from the Magic Online PTQ. That is a mono white Knights, a very low to the ground white aggressive deck. We got a ton of 1-drops, followed up with the Danto Vanguard, Knight of Grace, which should be pretty good in this matchup, and then History of Benalia and Benelish Marshal. We go top off the curve at Venerated Loxodon, which is great with pumping up all the cheap creatures, and just a little bit of removal to get the creatures through. So very aggressive deck. Not as low to the curve as something like the mono white humans deck from a couple years ago. We've got some 3-drops, so there's a little bit of power here, but the curve is low enough that we can really get going early.
You get to play 3-drops because you have such a convoke powerful top end, where you make it up in speed in that one instance, right? You play a 3-drop, then you play another 3-drop, then you use them all to get counters on them and progress your board even further. So, we don't need the hyper-aggressive curve like we used to. Also, we got Knight of White Orchid back then, which was,
a really
my
important
favorite
element.
card of all time. I love cards that make Magic easier when you're on the drop. But anyway, what's up, Todd?
I just had a few questions from the chat that are kind of relevant to this discussion. Feishi Barboza asked, Ross, are you going to be playing your Selesnya deck from your article later today?
I am. That'll be the 2nd deck I'll be playing today. So after we're done with this white aggro deck, I'll be playing my Selesnya deck from my article that you can read on starseagames.com. Good plug, Ross.
Good plug, Ross. So for a quick discussion about the Golgari deck I'll be playing all day, it's a little different than most other lists because it's going really hard to the paint with Carnage Tyrant, which we're starting to figure out as a collective being one of the best cards against control and the Golgari mirrors, oddly enough. Giant Hexproof is really good when the deck is just filled with creature removal. Yeah,
a bunch of creature removal and then mopey creatures that gain a little bit of value but aren't that big. We just go over the top with this giant 7/6.
Yeah.
You probably, at best, you have to triple block and hope they don't have the removal to blow up your block in combat.
Well, at best that happens, but also, you have Memorial Folly and Fine Finality to just keep bringing Carnage Tyrants back.
And Golgari Fine Broker.
And so, instead of trying to win the game with cards that Assassin's Contempt or Assassin's Trophy can take care of, you're just trying to win a game with a giant hexproof. And it's disgusting if you play it and cast Finality and they don't have an Edict effect. Yeah, which is funny because in the mirrors, the Edict effects are your worst cards, except for that exact scenario. So you can't really, you don't want to have a card in your deck to play to a scenario where they played a Carnage Tyrant and Wrathed you. Like that's.
But you might have to.
You might have to. I don't know.
Devastating.
I don't know where the Golgari mirrors are going. Like Midnight Reaper is starting to show up more in these decks to just give a little bit of card advantage in the mirrors. Try to build up. Make sure you hit all your land drops. Make sure you have resources. I don't know what's going on with Golgari, but we're gonna give this one a test, and we're gonna see how it does against 3 decks today, and talk a little bit more about it after we've concluded the videos.
Yeah, and we'll see just how good Carnage Tyrant is.
All right. Well, let's shake some dice. You want to just do high roll?
Sure.
That is not high.
All right, while y'all rolling dice, I'm going to ask a question for me.
All right, what's up, Tom?
So I'm actually curious. I played a little bit with the PTQ winning deck list, Brad, and I'm curious your thoughts on the card Doom Whisper in this archetype. Is it specifically for the mirror, or do you think it's not good in the mirror and only good against like mono red or control decks?
Well, from my article last week when I talked a lot about Golgari, I spoke about Doom Whisper not being good in the strategy because it's just a giant threat that doesn't have hexproof, so you invest a lot of time into it making a big threat, whereas the rest of your deck is all about picking apart a strategy, gaining small amounts of value, continuing your strategy. So I don't think Doom Whisper is good, but then a list with 4 of them won the whole tournament. So
dude, I was very surprised by that as well. And my experience was that any threat that dies to Ravish Chupacabra is just not going to be good in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he won in a field full of 6 out of 8 Golgari
Well,
decks.
things get weird in the Golgari mirrors. It's not just one card that changes everything. And that card, if with a high life total, sometimes can get you to the next card you exactly need for a cheap amount of life.
Yeah.
4 life finds you exactly what you want to do the next turn, which can be really powerful in the mirrors.
Could be cool with a Zoni too.
Yeah,
Cards, get your Zoni, played on turn 6.
that is true. I don't know. I really don't know the right builds of this deck. I'm going to keep trying to learn it. Hopefully, I'll have it down pat by the Pro Tour or Grand Prix New Jersey.
You
But
got some time.
I do have some time.
As for my hand here, I was a little worried about it being slow, and then my last card was a 1-drop, so this hand looks pretty good.
All right. Well, my hand isn't that fast, but I still have to keep it.
I will cast a Legion's Landing, get myself a
Alright.
Lifelinking Vampire.
That was a good first draw. Your turn.
While they are in development mode, just get your questions to me at SEG Tour in the chat, and I'll be
Attack for
asking
1.
those whenever we have
19.
some free
And I'm
time.
at 21. And I'll follow that up with a Remorseful Cleric, card that should be pretty good in this matchup. I don't think I'm going to end up using it that often in response to Brad's spells, because he probably won't play something super important into it. But this card eventually has to get killed at some point, and then it'll just deal with Brad's graveyard and make his graveyard elements worse beyond that. He's probably going to kill right now.
No, I'm playing a Druid of the Cowl. Now, this is not a Land of Elves. And the reason I like Steve's theory about playing this card, and I thought about it a little bit more too, but after sideboard, I feel like this card's going to be good against you. And it doesn't kill the mana.
Yeah, that was one of Steve Mann's biggest points when playing Druid of the Cowl, is that not only can you find finality on it and have it survive, but you also just get to play a Mana Accelerator that doesn't die to Golden Demise, which is a big deal.
Golden Demise seems pretty good.
Yeah, 17.
Here at 17, I will cast a History of Benalia.
That is also very good.
Chapter 1.
Really good curve here.
It
from
begins.
All right, well, I'm just going to start off with the Ravenous Chupacabra on the self. Do you want to kill my graveyard?
Yes. Exile
Alright.
your graveyard.
It's exiled.
Got him.
All right.
Okay. I will
Yes,
just draw
correctly.
first. Get another knight. How can I...
Shorts 2 asks, do you know how both Brad and Ross can go 0-3 today? Just let me in the booth. Let me in the match.
What's going on over there?
I'm thinking about how best to sequence this turn, because I definitely have some options. Because I also kind of want to transform the Legion's Landing into an Adanto, but that would require me essentially throwing away this vampire.
You can't do it this turn.
Oh yeah, I just can't attack.
Yeah.
Okay, well if I can't transform that at all,
Yeah, we don't have to think about that then.
yep. No thoughts necessary. So, why don't I start with another History of Benalia?
A double history on the play draw. This is rude.
And
This is so
So-
rude.
I don't think I want to attack with this knight because
And an elephant?
Um,
This is disgusting draw.
I don't think I want to attack with this knight because I'm going to have a third chapter history going off for each of the next 2 turns. So
Yes, of course. Oh,
I
wait,
don't. No, I have a Conclave Tribunal, and I'm going to hit the Druid.
Oh, that's not good.
This both stops Brad's mana, and if he has a removal spell for it, he doesn't get to re-trigger Chupacabra.
This is not good. Thank you. And go. Double history is it's unfair. It's not beatable in game 1.
Make
I
another
agree.
knight.
Because you're
Chapter
pretty dead.
3.
Yeah, it's just not beatable.
Wait, are you still 2 mana away from a finality?
Oh yeah. Flip.
Yeah, transform.
I don't know why you're attacking with this.
Why not?
Because he probably
yeah, I
has Pride
guess
of
I
the
can double
Conquerors,
block.
brah.
Well, no, because then I can't do a double block.
Okay, I will deal with the 2/3.
Yeah. And I take 9 down to 8.
You double blocks. Yeah, you take 9. So it brings you to 8, and I go to 22.
Yep.
And I will play Allegiance Landing and get another Vampire and play Knight of Grace.
Next game.
Wow, Steve Mann coming out strong in game 1.
Double history coming out strong.
Yeah, that's the JK.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break, even though we just started 2 minutes ago.
Yeah,
And we're going to go to sideboarding because that was a fast game. All right, so for sideboarding, things are a little complex on my end because I do have these moment of cravings, and you play a lot of cheap creatures, but at the same time, you do have like bigger effects that if I just have all of the small stuff and you can't lightning bolt a 4/4.
Yeah,
And that's really how it feels with all of this small removal. So I think I'm going to keep in a couple of Vraska's Contempts because, you have things like that, but you also have Banalish Soldier, Warrior, Captain, Marshal. Ooh, I got them all. I got them all until I got to Marshal.
You literally named all that weren't it.
Yeah.
Benelish Private, Benelish Lieutenant.
Yes. And so, but Carnage Tyrant is coming out. It's like the opposite of a matchup where you'd want an effect like that. We're just going to have all of our removal and more grindy effects. And I'm going to be bringing all the Golden Mize to help against History Benalia, which I think that History Benalia is a subpar card alone. I think it's just below like the 50-50 of like it's a good card. But like the one really only feels like it has some interaction. But the second one always closes the game.
Yeah.
It always feels like the turn 3-4 history draws are just too overpowered.
Yeah, because then you like the back-to-back third chapter thing where you just have 2 great awesome attacks.
Yeah,
that sequence is really punishing.
So I might change my mind after on the draw, but also because this doesn't kill one of your X2s, it doesn't feel like I just want to go deep on it. And the life gain I don't think is that relevant, whereas deadweight being able to get back with Fine Broker is very important to me. So, but this is how I'm going to sideboard. I'm cutting a land because we're cutting a lot of our top end anyway, and I don't think I have a lot of time to generate with Folly anyway.
You're also trying to play a really grindy game here, so cutting a land makes sense. On my side, I'm just getting a little bit bigger. I'm cutting the creatures that match up worst against the cheap removal out of black, the Deadweight's, Moment of Cravings, and Golden Demises, and that's Dauntless Bodyguard and Adonto Vanguard. I do still like Sky Marcher Aspirant because in the late game it can gain flying, and Brad's plan involves a lot of blocking usually, so any evasive creature has a lot of value. And then we're bringing in Tocatli Honor Guard, which conveniently sidesteps all of that cheap black removal while also just being awesome against all of the value creatures.
Awesome against every single creature in my deck almost.
Yeah, except for the one you sided out.
Yeah, and my Mana Dork.
Yeah, and then Ajani is just another threat you can follow up your early game with that doesn't run you into a sweeper. It gets your creatures out of Golden Demise range, just does a lot of stuff in this matchup, helps my creatures match up well in combat against Brad. So this is a card that has underperformed since it's been printed, really,
But we
in my
keep
mind.
trying.
But this specific matchup, this kind of matchup, makes so much sense. Like, all of its abilities are super relevant. So I have high hopes for Ajani right here.
All right, we're going to field some questions from Twitch chat real fast.
All right.
Mayday Maze asks, to make the Golgari deck on MTG Arena, is Vraska Relic Seeker more important to use wild cards on, or is Carnage Tyrant more crucial?
Oh, I can't really answer that question.
Just in general, do you think Vraska or Carnage Tyrant, if they can only choose one?
If I don't really want to answer a question like that. Like, that's just I think you just want to play with both. I'm not here to.
It's Vraska.
Okay,
I'm
Todd
just
can
gonna,
answer that.
It's a Vraska Relic Seeker. It's way better.
I mean, it might be, but like, it's just that's a tough answer. That's a tough question to answer.
That's fair.
I say keep grinding out those tournaments to get enough value to play both.
All right, Fashu Barboza comes in with another question. Wants to know about Tocatli Honor Guard. Is it specifically for this matchup, and how good do you think it is in this matchup, Ross?
Yes, I believe it's specifically for this matchup,
Yeah.
and I think it is awesome.
I do too. I think it's going to be very good if it lives.
Yeah.
Floppy Jelly asks, how many wins for Ross to
Floppy
shake Lost
Jelly.
Miriam? How many
no.
wins does Ross have to have before he shakes the name Lost Miriam?
I don't think that's ever going away, to be
It's
honest.
not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Look, as soon as it happened, I just knew that, and I've already accepted it.
Histeus asks Brad, how good is Double History Draw?
It's very good. And now I'm staring at a hand I do not like.
Moons Live asks, this is for both of you. Do you think Standard is in a good place right now with Guilds of Ravnica, or do you think this? And the second half's from me. Or do you think the fact that Golgari is winning a bunch maybe is putting us down a dark path, or is it too early to tell?
What dark path?
Where one deck fields over half the format again.
Well, it's a deck that we understand how we want it to function. Bunch of 2-for-1s, bunch of card advantage, duresses, and the other decks are still trying to find their footing. So it does make sense why this kind of deck. It makes sense why red was week 1 deck and the black-green mid-range deck was week 2 deck. And you know we're gonna go to the next evolution of the format. I don't think we're gonna get stuck on this one this early. We don't even know how it's correctly built.
I know it feels like we're a lot deeper into the format than we actually are because there was so much anticipation around this set and everybody was building lots of decks and testing during the preview season, but we are only 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
So there's plenty more evolution to come. I mean, 2 weeks into RTR Standard, people still weren't playing a lot of Sphinx's Revelation.
Yep. All right, well, I am going to keep this, but probably get punished by it. It's just not a good hand.
Funny enough, those are my sentiments exactly.
All right, let's do it.
They stand a little bit... Ooh, that was perfect. You can go. I guess it wasn't a 1-drop, but...
Go.
Oh, wow.
Just doing it?
Yeah, I
no.
am the Knight of Grace.
Go.
So one of the reasons, even though this hand was a little slow, I felt comfortable with it, is because this card matches up so well. And, ooh. So Brad missed a land drop, which is nice. I'm going to attack for 2.
Yeah.
Brings you to 18. And my goal here is to not play into a Golden Demise if Brad draws a black source off the top. So I'm going to cast Benelish Marshal, which might die to a removal spell, but...
Can we talk about your last turn a little?
What?
Just talk about it. Did you think there's any value missed?
Did you play it post-combat?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure which one I was going to play. I was thinking about it, and I usually just attack while I'm doing that.
Go.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing that happens a lot on camera, where I'm just like, oh, let's make a play to advance the game state while I'm thinking, and then I can't come to a decision that makes me think, yeah, maybe I should have done that differently.
Man, that's classic Lost Miriam right there.
But he's so winning.
He's still crushing it. You need to draw black or you're absolutely dead.
Oh, no, I'm just dead.
Oh, no.
I'm going to put a counter on both of my things
Range? Is
and
that what's happening?
Attack you for, what is this, 4/6?
Hey, look, I drew a black source.
Brings you to 12.
Go.
Ooh, Druid of the Cowl. That's cute.
And Brad, this is the deck you're playing all 3 matches today?
Well, yeah, it's going to be a short day. We'll get out of here around 2 o'clock. We'll be good.
So this thing's currently a 2/2. How do I want to play this? I could just continue Brad's mana woes and just deal with the druid here.
I'll just deal with it for you. You just do
Yeah,
whatever you want. We'll just, no, you don't even have to, I'll just.
That seems like the, that's just such a weird, so what are, okay.
Oh, Deadweight's pumping Knight, by the way. That's what someone just pointed out.
Oh, yeah, so you should have taken 1 more last turn?
Yes.
Brings you to 11.
I'm trying to
Good
get as
call,
many
chat.
free ones as possible now on the versus live.
So
They matter.
So now we're looking at a 5-power, 5/4 knight, and a 2/2 marshal. So that's 7. So if I just deal with this thing and attack you for 9, what are you gonna do?
Oh, I'm already dead.
Yeah.
I just don't
Okay.
know.
He doesn't have Ritual of Soot in his deck.
Getting
so
Brad to the
he's
point where both of these
99%
creatures
dead.
are lethal seems right. So let's just hammer your mana again, add some things, and attack you for 9.
Am I dead then?
6, 9. No, you're at 2, I guess. So even if I see the point was completely irrelevant, I would have just left you at 1. But Brad being at 2 means both these things are lethal, and which I guess was true regardless.
Doesn't even work.
It only kills your creature.
All right, real quick for Twitch chat, let's do 1 if you want a pity game for Brad, 2 if you want to just move on to the next match.
Any other questions while we wait for...
We actually have a few subs. I want to say a big shout out to Eric J1222, LOL Krog the Frog, and Tateki. All thanks for the Prime subs. Appreciate it.
Thank
and then
you
we
so
got
much.
one more question real quick from KLER Bulldog 1. Do you think anything in Standard right now currently feels ban-worthy?
Ross Merriam.
Wow.
That felt ban-worthy.
Wow, that was dirty.
No. I mean, he's overpowered.
Oh.
Like, the
Yeah.
other way.
Okay. Nice.
Sure, Brad.
One Merriam.
His name's on the chest, one Miriam.
I'm guessing there's a lot of ones.
Oh, yeah, there's a ton of ones.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a pity game for Brad. He just got mushed twice.
You get to be on the
Ooh,
play.
a couple people are suggesting that Ross takes your deck
And
and
beats
sees
me
if he
with
can
it?
beat you with your deck.
It'd probably beat me with
I'll
this
tell you, I'm
hand.
going to make a 3rd land drop. So
Do y'all want to field one more question before we start game 3?
Sure.
yeah.
All right, this one's actually a pretty deep one. This comes from Olio22. This was asked earlier, and I wrote it down. Are there any cards in Standard that you've tried that you thought would be good that ended up disappointing you?
Any cards that I've tried in Standard that I thought would be good that disappointed me?
Yeah.
Let me think. That's a tough one because I've tried a lot of things and
Right,
a lot of cards
same.
have been disappointing. The most though.
If it helps, I'll do mine first.
Sure, go for it.
Karn, Scion of Urza. I thought Karn was going to be really good in this format, but removing a lot of the artifacts makes the minus a lot weaker. If you're not playing it alongside Treasure Map, it just feels kind of like a dud.
Okay, I guess I got mine. When I saw Runaway Steamkin, I was like, the week before all the hype happened on it, I just wrote a little piece of my article about theorizing on that card. I was like, I think this card's gonna be really good. And the first thing I thought about is like, oh, I'm just gonna build the best Fight with Fire deck. I'm gonna play it and treasure maps and experimental frenzies and all this value and just like find the best way to cast Fight with Fire. And it just wasn't that good. And if I think Fight with Fire was the card that I spent the most time trying to make consistent and good, and it just wasn't.
Did you put
I mean,
some
I think
Jayas in your deck, Brad?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to go
I was
hard.
the first Jaya person. So there's I'll just say like I'm to troll Ross Merriam. In all honesty, I made an account that got pretty much outed to the point where I won't use that as a secret anymore. But it was BEESEEUU BCW.
Nice.
Yeah, Ross was on camera when I was making a new account, and I'm like, all right, I'll do this. And you were crushing a tournament on stream while I was watching. I'm complimenting you, but in the first deck dump I was the Dragons deck, like the Sarkhan Jaya. I did a lot with Fight with Fire.
Sure.
Like a lot.
Well, don't be talking no smack about Fight with Fire because that card's dope. And if you don't think it's good, then you just built your deck wrong.
It's not that good.
It's great.
What
Just
do you
cast
mean?
it for the front half. It's great.
Well, I do, but that's
Both
still not
halves
that
are great.
good.
The
I don't think it's still that good.
Well, have you tried
Go.
Goblin Electromancer at all? Because you can get to 8 mana pretty easily with a Goblin Electromancer. Just saying.
All right, so I played Druid. What are you doing for?
I'm a little behind, so I think I need to get the honor guard down just to stop your shenanigans.
18 go.
Oh, so my honor guard is getting contempted.
Yes.
I see. Well, I am going to cast a History of Benalia.
Brad's contempt.
You're mad.
20.
Yeah.
Man, History of Benalia seems like a really messed up magic
Ooh,
card.
I'm going to keep that one. Go.
Yeah, just the threat of finality against this deck kind of changes how Ross has to play like the next few turns, right? Especially because you can keep either one of your creatures alive if you want to,
Yep.
now that they both have 3 toughness.
I say you put more stuff on the board.
Here's the thing. If I don't put more stuff on the board, I'm not going to be able to pressure Brad. And that means he's just not going to cast the finality.
True dat.
So I have to figure out the minimum number of stuffs that I can put on the board.
What about things?
Things
Just
are
stuffs?
just stuffs that will let me do some damage.
Does everyone just see my hand? Thank you for giving me the extra game, folks in chat, because I feel like I'm gonna have a fun game.
So-
Everyone knows my hand, right?
Oh, they do now.
All right.
I'm going to cast a Knight of Grace and Conclave Tribunal, the Druid of the Cowl,
Oh, what?
and pass. So this allows me to put a ton of pressure on Brad next turn
Go.
without getting swept, and leaves Brad without his best thing to target. Although the Seeker Squire will be fine to target with finality as well.
After I take 15?
Yes, that's the goal. Well, 13.
Oh, yeah, 13.
Chapter 3.
Oh, I'm going to have so much fun this game.
Attack you for 13.
Stupid.
Brings you to
Basically
7.
dead if he doesn't draw a land.
Well, the
Now
problem...
he knows. You let him know that I don't have the land.
But he can't play more. If he plays more stuff and he draws the land, he just gets smushed.
Yeah,
Plus-
but if I know he doesn't have a land, I might just take the...
See?
Okay,
He's-
he has the
And
land.
he knows how unlucky I am on Versus Live.
All right, let's just put. I'm gonna.
This
secretly
is a
put the land
memorial
on top.
folly.
Oh,
I know it
100%.
is.
Okay, I'm just going to pass. I'm
There
gonna-
it is. How much did you attack for that turn, Ross?
13, so Brad's at 7. So he's shocked and gained
Go.
2 off contempt.
Gas.
Okay, attack. You go to 4.
Wait, I don't even know if I want to do this because of pride. If I just...
Well, he already said go to 4, so.
Yeah,
you
okay,
know.
I'll take it.
He gave away he didn't have Pride of the Conquerors while you were still thinking.
Okay, so finality is certainly castable next turn because the druid is back.
One of the knights
so-
should be down, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the knights is dead. I'll just pass because Brad's at 4, and this Knight of Grace attacks through his board, so he's sort of forced.
Pirate, your turn.
Yeah, this is one of the better 1-2 punches of this Golgari deck. Is that now, since Ross didn't deploy more pressure, Brad's able to stick his Planeswalker, and now Ross is basically forced.
Well, and this is the downside of this build over one, like, let's say, like, Jading Complarins, our own Jading Complarins, where she plays 3 Vraskas and 3 Fine Finales, where I only have 2 Vraskas and I have other top-end stuff. And she has Golgari Vraska Queen, or Golgari Queen.
I've done the same thing.
Yeah,
Don't
Vraska
feel-
Vraska Queen.
I call her Golgari Vraska Queen all the time.
And Vivian Reed's like more Planeswalkers, more removal spells. And so, like, a build like that, you know, this has the Carnage Tyrants that make the mirrors better and the control matches better. But, yeah, being able to ramp into Vraska Relic Seeker is really good when you have a Wrath effect.
3 in hand.
I'm at 4, though.
Yep.
Scooter
If
222
you
says.
splashed blue, you could play Arcane Flight on this and kill me.
Scooter 222 says was really hoping it'd be Memorial to Folly there.
Yeah.
I was really hoping to draw into Johnny. So, do any one of the creatures in my hand force a finality next turn? And I think the answer now is no. Because Brad he can just make another pirate and always leave the druid up. The druid checks the knight token, then 2 pirates can double block this, and then the 2/3 checks whatever else I play.
You got to dump.
Or yeah, I guess what about, does this one do it? I mean, you still just lose 2 things to trade for my 1 thing, and then get to keep making a pirate every turn.
What's your hand?
It's a lot of 2-drops. So I think I actually need to deploy 2 things, which is really gross.
Yeah, and then you just lose. But I don't think you have a choice.
Any attack?
Yes.
You should attack with both if you attack with one, right?
No, if I attack with both, you just block like this.
But I still lose. So
I guess if I attack with this, you just
this
jump.
trades with this, or this trades with this. That's what you're offering if you attack.
Yeah, I was thinking you would double block here, and I may be able to get the Squire, but there's no point in you doing that. You just chump block with the Pirate, and then you have the option of which one to save.
What?
If you're going to finality next turn, there's no point in you double blocking. This is going to die. So you just chump
If I
block
have
with...
to
He
finality.
doesn't even have to finality though. If you don't put him under any pressure, he doesn't have to.
I mean,
use finality.
he technically has.
But if I deal with this, then you definitely have to finality next turn. I think so. Whereas if I attack with both,
I don't even get that logic because that's just one. This token, all these have 3 power with this in play. So if this trade, like, I can do this, and then this still doesn't match up well against everything. Do you see what I'm saying? Everything else has 3 power, except for this. And so if you attack with both, and if I say do this, now this extra toughness doesn't really matter because these all have 3 power anyway.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And
attack with both.
Yeah, I'm still going to do that.
Tokens trade. You can go. Ugh.
Ha! Ha!
If I just put one more creature down the turn to 4, I think I'd be in better shape here, because then I would have been able to flood the Vraska.
All right, I think I should just finality.
Yeah, if you could minus on one of these creatures, I might not want to, but the fact that they're all generically pretty good against you, I mean, you get to go up to 10 afterwards too on the
We're gonna
Planeswalker.
keep that alive. I think that's just better than the other creature, and then I'm gonna threaten lethal.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to play 3 creatures, not be dead, Ross.
Yep, 3 creatures.
Or get rid of the Vraska.
Yeah.
Hey, 3 creatures.
That's rude.
Told you my hand had a lot of 2-drops in it.
Do I have the?
I'm at 1.
Oh, I have the wrong one.
It's okay. Just put an
right.
emblem on
It still works.
No one can read it.
Oh wait, no,
That's
it's not
so
an emblem. This
Yeah,
isn't
my
an
life total
emblem.
just becomes 1. You have a
Oh,
removal
life
spell?
total just becomes 1.
Huh?
Okay.
You have a
So
removal spell?
You just
Well, we'll find
ultimate your
out.
Planeswalker to deal 3 damage. Is that what just happened?
Should I keep this? All right, this is my hand, chat. Should I keep this? Can we vote? Can we get a poll?
I'm not gonna do a poll.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I was going to say, if you don't have a removal spell, the ultimate seems really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually just had another Vraska and peeled the Chupacabra, so it's just like
I think I might have been able to win that game if I had extended one more creature and forced the finality
the
a
turn
turn
before.
earlier.
Yeah.
Because then I flood with 3 and when you play the Vraska. I guess it was turns earlier, but oh my god, I had Johnny off the top.
Yeah, you might have.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good about that game.
That was a tough road to hoe.
Everyone's very happy that Brad won the pity game. Just want to point that out. We also got Efro in the chat if anybody wants to say hey to Efro.
Frolic, what's up?
Dude, Efro watches all our stuff.
I know, it's awesome.
And he also interacts on like Twitter and like YouTube comments, and it's great.
I mean,
yeah.
we're very much the same. Like we lurk in a lot of streams, and I think he's like me. I devour a lot of content. I read most articles and I at least skim them. At least look at the deck lists.
Agreed.
At least read the first paragraph. At least look at them on the front of the websites. One of those.
at least check the website at 11.
Yeah. But that deck actually looked a little more impressive than I thought it would.
Yeah. Todd kept telling me that the deck wasn't very good because he had played it on stream this weekend and didn't do so well. But, I mean, I was able to win games that I didn't just roll you over in. Granted, the 2 games we showed on camera, I just rolled you. But we played some games before we went live.
Well, also, his double history draws, like, when you put history in your deck, you pretty much just get to win those games where you go turn 3, turn 4 on the play history. So whatever the math is for that to happen, like, those games are, I rarely see those games be losses. Rarely.
Sure.
And it's always, like, mass removal at the perfect
I'll do the
time.
math during the break.
Oh, I don't want to listen to you. So when Ross says I'll do the math, he does it out loud in front of you, and over your voice. So even if you're conversing with someone else, he just makes the noise of the math louder. No, the deck seemed good. And it really didn't give me a chance to see if this variant shines. And I don't think the next match will either. But our third match, we'll get to see a mirror, and hopefully we'll see some carnage from that one.
This is definitely a build of Golgari that is built towards beating other Golgari decks and control decks,
which
think that makes sense.
Well, and even if Golgari tries to take a hold over the format, I don't think it's going to be like Black-Red Aggro or Band Company or Team Energy, where those decks really didn't have to do much to evolve around the format. These Golgari decks do feel like unless we find the perfect build, but they do feel like every variation has a hole.
Yeah.
And so there's some versions that are good against burn spells, some are bad.
Yeah, and none of them are so powerful that they just get to sit on top of the rest.
Yes.
Which is a good place to be. So we get to constantly be adapting. We get a little bit more dynamism.
Mayday May says egg roll.
Stop hating on us Midwesterns.
All right, I got a few questions before we take a quick break. I don't know how to say his name. Durum Dum Dum, I think.
I'm actually doing Todd's job on Thursday. I'm gonna be bad at that. So bad at doing the names.
Awesome. That just makes it so that I can leverage more money out of Cedric later.
What?
I'm just kidding. I got to show off, if I'm actually good at it.
Yeah.
Saying random online names, that's a talent these days?
Well, let's see how good at it you are, okay, sir?
It's definitely a talent. Being able to pronounce the names appropriately and read things quickly and enunciate.
Yeah.
That.
All right, we do have a question, one more from Durum Dum Dum. He asks, do you think Control is well positioned? And I'll have a follow-up question of that. Let's start with Ross. Do you think Control is well positioned in the current metagame?
It's hard to say well positioned. I think Control is good, and it should be able to be reasonable against Golgari, like these mid-range versus Control decks. And the Golgari decks have some tools. They have Duresses, they have Carnage Tyrants, but you also have tools. And the nature of Expansion Explosion is that if the game goes long, you're eventually going to draw one and cast it for 5 or 6, and that should end the game. So, yes. I think that specifically Jeskai. I also like Esper Control still. I think the black removal is excellent. So if the Golgari decks are heavy Planeswalkers, and having 4 Vrasis Contempts is really good. So there's definitely space for Control. They have enough power to compete. As far as being well positioned right now, we're still early, so the format's still in a lot of flux. So it matters more about whether it's powerful enough to compete. And yes.
Teferi is the most powerful card in Standard, in my opinion.
It's one of the most powerful cards they've printed in a long time.
But I don't think currently there's enough tools for Control to be that good. And we're seeing it has had some good results when people weren't really prepared for Control. And also just they were worrying about other things. But I also just don't think Control can beat hyper-aggressive red decks already. So there's always going to be a safety valve. There's always just some way to stop Control from dominating this format. And Carnage Tyrant, Duress, things like that. It feels like too much struggle. But once Azorius is a guild, I think that once we get all of those cards, we get Hollowed Fountain, then I think that I'm really scared. I'm very scared of any card that is instant and costs blue and white. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm just scared of its existence.
I don't know, Azorius Charm.
That's what I'm saying. The next Azorius Charm.
Azorius Charm was great. This is the follow-up from me in the Control vein. Are you scared of Expansion Explosion? Because I beat the crap out of you with it on Thursday.
That feels like an extremely leading question.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Absurdly leading.
Yeah, he went to no lengths to disguise that.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm not that afraid of that card because if Control ever becomes the best thing to do, then I'll just splash blue in my deck and play Negate. And a deck with Negate, Duress, and card advantage just always annihilates these spell-based Control decks. So Golgari might have to do that. Might have to push and play, instead of playing Jade Light Rangers, it has to play some duels and actually play District Guide, play an island, because you don't need the island that early anyway. You just need to find it for turn 5. And now you have an answer to Teferi and
you got 4 Water
Expansive
Graves in your deck
Expulsion.
and an island, and that's probably good.
Well, you
Maybe
would,
not war.
you would
Hinterland
play like
Harbors,
Hinterland
fine.
Harbors
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
those,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Those
you
are
would-
better on your splash
It
plays.
does not seem
Yeah.
that hard to splash a third color in this format in general. I agree with that, but
It hurts against your red matches, but that's about
right,
it.
it does hurt your red matchup. So we could see a spot where like control gets really good, but then mono red comes back in a big way to fight the control decks, and all the decks that try to fight the control decks end up being slower and like
And they get hit
taking
by
more
red,
damage,
yeah.
and then the red decks just come in and sweep it all
Yeah,
up.
we might see that cyclical nature in this format.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a 10-minute break while we get ready for our next video. Get those questions lined up for us when we get back, and we're going to be playing Selesnya Not Tokens versus Golgari Midrange. It's a Ross Brew from his article. So in this 10 minutes, if you want to take a look at his article from today, go read that. It was today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should be
go,
live now.
go read that. You can get caught up with all of Ross's opinions about the deck, and then we'll be back in 10 minutes.
Fashu Barboza did say he already went 5-0 today with your list.
Already?
Yeah, it was like a hour-and-a-half league or 2-hour league. Or whatever. He
Wow.
crushed
I'm great.
it. Yeah.
You're wonderful.
He might have been lying, but I don't think so. All right, we'll be right back.